Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be all about Oncidium orchids. So someone asked me to give an update on my Oncidium orchids, and my Shari baby's in bloom. So I wanted to give an update on how they're doing and how I care for them and how I've changed how I care for them, because in my 11 years of growing orchids, I've completely changed the way that I grow my Oncidiums, and I've learned a lot. I started with this Shari baby right after my very first Phalaenopsis. So this was my first orchid that I had that was fragrant. The Shari baby is known to be fragrant. It's known as the chocolate orchid. Some people think it smells like vanilla. It's really nice. It's very easy to grow. So I got this maybe a few months after my first Phalaenopsis. My mom gifted it to me, and she also gave me this one. This one is the Oncidium Golden Afternoon Rich Yellow. I've divided this many times. It's also been with me, wow, since 2014. So I've learned a lot with these orchids, but after the pandemic, I expanded my collection a ton. I had every single Shari baby. I got the Oncidium, aka baby raspberry chocolate, I think it's called. It was really cute. Very nice flowers, but I found it repetitive and less fragrant than my regular Shari baby. Then I got the Shari baby Red Fantasy, and then I was like, wait, it's kind of the same. So I stopped collecting after I ran out of so much space. I experimented with Miltoniopsis, which I don't recommend really if you live in a hot summer condition situation like I do. I gave that away to a friend in Colorado that had conditions that were a little cooler indoors for it. But I got a lot of Miltonias. I got a Bolera, the Big Shot Hilo Sparkle. This one doesn't look like a lot. I've made some mistakes that I'm going to share. And then I got a Miltassia Orchid Works Dark Star, which I haven't shown you guys in a while. I set this one back as well. So what have I learned with these orchids? Well, the biggest thing is that these orchids, they really like their moisture. So I used to recommend putting them in 100% moss. And the Shari baby works well with that because it's very vigorous. So I repotted this year. And look at the roots. Like, this is very, very vigorous. So my baseline when I was learning orchids is I thought all Oncidiums were vigorous. Some of them are slower. This one also worked well in sphagnum moss in a smaller pot. So they like their moisture, and if they don't get their moisture, they will put out accordion leaves. So you'll notice like some accordion type looking parts on the leaves like that. It happens. It happens if a growth is growing and you skipped watering for a week, or if there was like a heat wave. It's cosmetic. It's not bad. It just means that it was underwatered. That being said, I find them very hardy. They don't really decline that easily because they are hardy, so they need lots of moisture, but also like their bulbs hold a lot of water. So even though they may get accordion leaves, it's not the kind of orchid that's going to decline on you like a Vanda, like a Fowl. If you abandoned it for a few weeks, it's gonna stay alive. It's gonna be dehydrated, but it's not gonna rest in peace, you know? So they're hardy. That being said, I switched how I care for my Oncidiums because I noticed that I moved a lot of them to semi-hydro a couple of years ago, and a lot of them declined, like this one, which I've been trying to rehab back. So what I've learned is, for Oncidiums, if they get too much moisture, they decline. They could rot. So they need moisture. But if they stay wet, they will rot on you. It's similar to like Cattleyas, where you don't want them to sit in like a pool of water, but these need a lot of moisture, so they are trickier. So I initially said these orchids are super easy. If you want to check out the full care guide that I made a few years ago, it was from the lens of some of the vigorous ones that I had through the years. But these orchids have very thin roots, so they are prone to rotting, but they need lots of water. So I moved to mixing bark and moss and moving away from 100% moss unless they are seedlings. They like bright light, not as much as a Cattleya or a Dendrobium, but they do enjoy their bright light. So I give them they're under my LED lights. I have moderate lights, and then I have high intensity lights for like the cattleyas. So if you're growing under a window, if you give them a filtered south-facing window, that works really well. An east-facing window works too. That one doesn't have to be filtered, but these have thinner leaves, so you don't want to burn it. You don't want to give them direct sun. Why haven't you seen them in bloom? Somebody asked me specifically why they haven't seen them. Well, I'll say that when they are dehydrated, or if you miss watering, this one isn't too bad, but sometimes the spike will grow inside of itself. So last year, this one only blooms once a year. The Shari Baby blooms multiple times a year. But when you have an Oncidium that only blooms once a year, you're not going to see it very often, right? So last year, this one grew right into itself and the spike broke. So that was on me for not noticing. Another thing that happened to me is sometimes the spikes will break because they're so long and they're in a shelf that's a little bit shorter. I usually have the spikes so that they hang out, but that's why you really haven't seen them. And then the other reason is I gave so many of them away, and after transitioning out of semi-hydro, where some of them I noticed would rot, I'm rehabbing them back. So this one has been set back for a few years now. It's bouncing back, it's giving new growths, but it still has I'm trying to get the right balance of water and moisture. Like you can't give it too much or the bulbs will rot. But if you give it not enough, it'll have accordion leaves. So this one is the Balera Big Shot Halo Sparkle. It was in semi-hydro, kind of declining for a while, and I'm bringing it back. It will come back. I just need some time with it. If you want to see me repotting it, you could check out the video linked below. They are not that hard to repot. They just have these thin little roots. So I just cut off the roots on the old bulbs and then keep the roots on the new bulb. You can't really do an individual root cut with these because it's just too many roots. So you just play it by ear. Keep all of the ones in the new growths. Get rid of the back bulb roots that are kind of mushy. I love that some of them are fragrant. This was my introduction to non-phalaenopsis orchids. So if you start with a Shari Baby, I find that those are easy. If you get them in a mixture of bark and moss, I think it's great. I got away with using moss for a long time because I had them in small pots. And I watered them appropriately, but as my collection grew, I had less time to really see which one needed more water, which one dried out. So as you guys know, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You have to water these things as they need it, and these don't like to be bone dry. Like I said, the accordion leaves aren't a big deal. It will happen if a leaf is growing and there's a dry period and the pot is dry. So it's they need to be constantly moist, but they can't be wet. Some of them have these big, beautiful flowers. I've really had a lot through the years, but I just find that some of them get so big and the spike's so tall. So I've gotten rid of a lot of them for that reason. I mean, this is half of my collection. I have another shelf here and another shelf there. So you can imagine I don't have that much room. So I would say that Oncidiums are not my favorite orchids. They are beautiful, don't get me wrong, and I love a Shari Baby. If you're new to orchids, you need a Shari Baby. It could be one of your very first non-phals, for instance. It's quite easy and vigorous. But when it comes to the way that you have to keep up with the watering, you can't overwater, but you can't underwater. Sometimes it can get a little bit finicky with you. And again, it's not like the vigorous ones, the Shari Baby is adaptable. Some of the Miltonias can be that way. Miltoniopsis, I don't really advise if you live in New York or a climate with a very hot summer. Those like it a lot cooler. But I find some of the ones with the really big flowers, they are more prone to rot sometimes. Otherwise, these are beautiful orchids. There's so much variety. I've had through the years some white ones, some orange ones with tarantula-like flowers. I've had the classic dancing lady type. The golden afternoon rich yellow is kind of like that. It's a classic Oncidium. And then I have the Miltassia Dark Star Orchid Works. It looks like Darth Vader. It's pretty cool. So if you want variety in your collection, these are good orchids. You just have to be mindful of watering. And I really screwed up with them when I put them in semi-hydro. A lot of them declined, a lot of them rotted. The bulbs rotted, so I rescued them, put them back in moss and bark. But then I learned, okay, not all of them like 100% moss, so let me mix it up with bark and moss. That way they get their moisture, but they get their aeration. And so you have it. I hope this video was helpful, and let me know down below if you like Oncidium orchids. I know some of you guys haven't seen them in a while. I'm looking forward to seeing my Shari baby bloom. Also, this was a very fitting moment to wear my Miltonia earrings. I think they're so cute. Anyway, if you guys like this video, leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below. And if you're interested in working more closely with me, where I make custom videos, custom care guides, and answer all your questions in a Discord, consider joining the membership with all the details below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.